This critique goes out to Kevin Moore. Kevin, I have not met you in person. I would like to. You're my homie. I will give you my best. Plus minus and interesting on this. But I think I need a couple. Y presto. There's the T. So I'll show everybody a little trick. The old hands will know this, but when you're evaluating something, proposal, you need to know where the challenge settings are. And I believe they are here. Yep. This is challenge building on BlockFrost. And there are many challenges up here, right? Building on BlockFrost is down there somewhere. There. So you got to find the settings. IdeaScale is a little, okay, so altogether 50,000 ADA being given out. How can you expand the BlockFrost ecosystem to drive developer adoption? How can they get people using BlockFrost, right? It's how can we drive developers? So they want people using it. So anybody that sounds like possible directions, GitHub, okay? Number of people that get on board. They basically want people to get on board. So any good idea will do. Anything that's feasible, right? And here's your idea. Kevin, a verified pay system. I like it already. As I'm reading this, I'm thinking, wow, we can use this. Problem statement. BlockFrost does not experience adoption because there's no way for one to pay out many people for authentic work through blockchain based on X, Y, and Z adjustable factors. This is, okay, that sounds cool. So no way for one to pay out many people. That's interesting. Like if you had a bunch of different people working on a job, for example, and you can't do that. Oh, interesting, right? That's a big thing. So they're not going to translate it. In general, what do they want to do? You want to use API keys and policy IDs, a system where a token, X token is paid to an anonymous user for presenting website authentic work based on X, Y, and Z. Z adjustable factors must be created. So they want to have a token paid to a user for providing a website authentic work, like submitting something, done, X, Y, and Z, adjustable factors. So based on some criteria, in other words, right? So the experience, Dagwood, or Dagwell, I think Dagwell, right? Dagwell, I'm pretty sure his name's Dagwell. So Dagwell is what do we call that? An IT guy, a managerial IT guy. I can just imagine that, yeah, I've worked with people like Dagwell. Those are the fun guys to work with. Okay, and then, oh wow, this is cool because this is none other than Kevin. 5 years experience building system banking and information. Kevin, I'd like to, could you unpack that a little bit? I think unpacking that a little bit would be better than, or not better, but this one here, it's not directly clear how that's relevant. I'm sure it is relevant. I'm gonna spell that out a bit. The journalism, yeah, baby. The West Point, yeah, baby. Okay, so GitHub, this is good because it's one of the challenge things. You have to have a GitHub thing. That's good. 17.5. Now, before I go any further, I just want to show this post here. Well, actually, you mentioned it here, Kim. I didn't realize this. This is cool. So this is you then, right? JORNL Media. Is that you, or you work there anyway, or is it yours? So that's cool. It looks great, right? And that's what it does. There's a wallet there. Make a post. News map categories. Become a publisher. Contact us. Okay, this looks cool, right? So it's a place where it looks like I can publish stuff on various topics, and I can connect a wallet and get paid for it. I think that's the general idea, which is cool, right? So that's where you say an API to link Web 3.0 3.2 wallet to a 3.3 Web 3 wallet to a Web 2 website. So that's what you got going here. Cool. I didn't realize that. That's awesome. However, what's the point of that if you can't earn anything? Indeed, a system of verifying and rewarding users for positive engagement. I totally thought that existed already. It's essential for mass adoption. Yep. Being able to pay us a website for services via APIs is great, but what if the website could pay the users? I thought that was already a thing. YouTube can pay out creators for content, but nobody does that on blockchain. Really? Okay, well, this is highly needed, right? I propose a solution where learners can be paid for creating meaningful content. And we totally want to do that to a study buddy. Absolutely. We're thinking in terms of NFT, but you're thinking in terms of like written articles and all of the above, right? Same platform as far as the payment goes. This is great. The solution simply works like this. Users create something meaningful based off a theme. Could be any theme. If X amount of people like it, the user gets rewards at the end of an epoch. Yeah, that sounds good. A lot like what YouTube does, right? Yeah, you Google AdSense, YouTube partnership program, OnlyFans, blah, blah, blah. But they are, of course, centralized and have that centralized mindset, and let's do our own. From a technical standpoint, stuff that's already doable. Okay, they connect their wallet. Stuff that needs to be created, okay. Okay, so that already exists. A traditional NFT, yeah, right. For something that we first saw for the very first time like 15 months ago, right? Let's see. Yes, pool.pm, journal and badge proof article. Nice. That's cool. How do I get one? How do I get one? Good job. And what's that thing worth? What's the price? How do I buy that? And we see where you're going with this, because you were talking about really a way of integrity, right? Bringing integrity back to journalism. It's cool. So how does this address the challenge? So remember, the thing with the challenge was they want to get people doing stuff. It can be adapted for any system. Yep. But does that address the challenge? Now, to me, it's obvious that it's good and cool, but you want the exact wording that you're going to find. So which of these does it fit in? Is it a new framework? Kind of. Is it a new concept? Yeah. For these two, for sure. Seems to be related to that. And so on, right? You know, I would go through those. I would pull out some of the wording, and repeat it in your thing, in the body here. So stuff that's technical and doable, and then stuff that needs to be created, and here's where you need money. Then users will be paid out for contributing over X amount of time. So there would need to be some kind of contract underlying that. And I just discovered Marlowe Blockley recently. So I'm starting to think it'd be fun to map some of this stuff out as best we could, as best I can. So the period of time, yep. So this is a nice use case, right? And this use case is a nice one because it could actually enable this functionality, which in itself is really interesting and will be generalizable to lots of different situations, right? Adopt any system that requires one to verify the data. So that's really the key point in Kevin's mind, I think, is the veracity, the truthfulness, the integrity of what is said. And let's even say what is not said. Because if it was said or not said, where is it or where is it not in the blockchain, right? So this is high quality content control, or not control, but I think validation is probably the right word. So personally, I'm interested in NFT in this kind of situation, but I don't know if it's necessary. I don't understand the technology quite enough to say, but let's just see what else he said here. So we get that. So the value here is if people want to read it, right? If enough people like it, they get rewarded. Yeah. Like, does Rumble do that, or BitChute? Do they actually do that? And then this is a different thing, because this is different kind of content, and it would go into certain kinds of fields, right? Or I'm not sure how the content would be put out. I'm going to say put into the system, or at least the evidence of the work gets done. I guess that's where the NFT comes in, right? So there's some payment involved because users would need to be paid out for contributing after X amount of time. Who are users here? Is that the writers? Yeah, the writers, right? I've been using the word originators or the creators, right? That would probably be good to clarify there. Yeah, and then if people voted for it, and you would get your reward. Now, earlier we said that this part here, not being too up on the technology, I don't quite understand the link here with this sentence, because the example, the use case is one individual writer, if I understand, writes something, people like it, and he gets paid. So how does that relate to this many people getting paid, and how does that relate to those factors? As I listen to it again, I realize, oh, it's many people, but not all at the same time. So, okay. And how do the X, Y, and Z factors come into that? I'm not getting that. So that's a question in my mind. Okay, then how does it address the challenge? It could be adopted for any system. It's very true. In other words, it would be a generalizable piece. And actually, I wonder if that concept that I've heard Mr. Hoskins and Charles talking about primitives. I wonder if that's a primitive, technically speaking. Okay, and then fees. So this example is probably good, but it doesn't exactly address the challenge. What specifically in the challenge? Something like we want to get it in the hands of the people or whatever, or we want to help people, right? Risks. None. No. Okay, I'll help you think of some risks. Because if you can't think of any risks, then we're not on the same page, man. You just need time and money. Can I go on a rant here, Kevin? I've worked with so many programmers over the years. Oh, man. Programming educational resources, like dozens of times. Programmers say, oh, yeah, we can do that. And you know what? They can. If you have enough time and money, you can move mountains. But it's as they say, timeliness is an element of quality. Not that, people are not reliable or whatever. Anyway, I'm kind of digressing here, but no, risk assessment. If you can't do some risk assessment, then go home and think of something, because there are totally risks. This is showing strength and smarts to come up with some here. Like personally, when people tell me this is going to be an easy tutorial, I always think like, fuck you. I think, fuck you. If it was easy, I wouldn't even be here looking at your tutorial. I'm sorry. No, don't claim it's easy, okay? If you claim it's easy, then you don't appreciate my stupidity, okay? Really, I feel like that. So what are some risks? Like there's the whole SWOT analysis, right? You can go outside risks, inside risks, external factors. Because don't forget, this question is showing that you have some self-awareness, because a person needs to be ready, willing, and able to deliver on a promise, right? Ready, willing, and able. So you may be ready, you may be willing, but you get hit by the bus and now you're not able. Or you're not quite ready. Or you're not quite willing, right? Things happen outside of our control that shut us down. Those are called risks. Those are the external risks, right? So at least come up with some of those guys, right? Otherwise, you don't look serious. So, for example, and furthermore, using the new proposer assessment matrix, which I should show you, we can say risks concerning deliverables, risks concerning timelines, risks concerning team, those three, right? And then the risk that it has no impact, the risk that it has no sustained feasibility, and the risk that you can't audit it. So there's, what is that? That's 6 kinds of risk, if not 9 kinds of risk, right? So that can help people think a few instances, because we want to see some instances here, right? Okay, I'll get off my high horse, but let's do this. So risks on the team side, like obviously, on the deliverables, no, I think that sounds doable. But I don't know if you said exactly what you're going to do. What are you going to do? You're going to create a verify and pay system. I wouldn't mind to hear more what that actually looks like. Could you draw a picture? You gave us this picture. What would be different on this page from how it is now? How about that? Other kinds of risks. Team timelines. So you're saying that to get yourself to the end of this year to do some stuff. Okay, well, obviously some of that stuff might take longer, right? Are there any holidays in there? Are you giving yourself some time off? Are there dependencies, like how many people are doing the job, and dependencies, like does this have to get done before that can start? And I think the team, come on, team is your main risk, which is true for lots of us. That if you got two of you and one of you gets sick, God forbid, and can't work, or something happens, or something super good happens and they retire, let's say, or whatever, that's a risk, right? What would you do? Would you hire somebody, right? Maybe. Well, what else would you do, right? So let's hear it. How would you mitigate? Because it's not all going to be sunshine and roses. We can tell you that. So it's called work, okay? This Catalyst stuff, yeah, it's fun, it's cool, it's exciting, it's awesome, and it's work, okay? It's work, like work as in you don't always necessarily want to do every detail of all the work, but that's what part of the deal. Okay, feasibility plan, okay. Plug in, completed tokens, okay, they've done some stuff already. This is good. This is very good, right? Begin development, okay. Well, hang on. What happened between June and September? I don't understand this. Q4 begin development. What does that even mean? What's Q4 September? You're not starting until September, really? Oh, I guess you're all about holidays. By that time, it's almost Fun 10, guys. But I guess that's allowed or whatever. I didn't even thought of that. Okay, so here's what they want to do. Change the plugin to send funds to wallets at the end of the epoch. Change plugin to send funds to wallet based on X factors. Oh, cool. Different categories in viewership. False information provided, penalizing, pay users fact checking. So these are all some different functionalities and estimates. A couple weeks for each thing. That looks quite doable, doesn't it? I assume they know what they're doing here. Are these based on some kind of plugins? Or are these based on, oh yeah, change the plugin, exactly. Seems like if it's all plugins, do these plugins all exist already? Are you rewriting these plugins? Or if you're just integrating them, does it really need to take that long to do all that work? I guess it does, but I'm kind of curious, like, are you rewriting some code? I guess you are. I've ever only used plugins, well, not only in a browser, but also like in another management system. But still, you download them and you try them out on your test server, and things go wrong. You test it for a couple days. It either works or doesn't work. Sometimes you gotta go back to them and say blah, blah, blah. But if it's fairly standard, usually it works. And you might have to mess around and you test it a bit on your test server and then you go live. So not that the money's wrong. Maybe that's why, to justify how much time it's going to take. Why don't you pay yourself more per month and do it faster? Miscellaneous. Yep. And this is for both of you guys, right? Or what? Who gets what? Are you splitting that money, or how does that work? It looks like that's kind of more for one person, or maybe Kevin's doing this part. Kind of doesn't matter. It only matters, I guess, in terms of risk. And anyone else who will, okay, anyone who wants to join, I'm not sure what you're looking for there. I guess these numbers are fine for, yeah, do it, charge more and do it faster. How's that sound? This seems a bit low in the proportion. I can imagine that these things could be worth more, a bit more. Obviously, I think, yeah, programmers are going to be worth more than the rest of us. Unless we have some genius business idea. I mean, maybe that's okay. Maybe that should be a bit more. I don't know. This here, is that kind of a bit much, considering if it's all just plugins? I don't know. Just asking. I'm ignoramus about this. Okay, details. Okay, yeah, I guess so. I'd be interested in seeing some testing, right? Development and labor. What about testing? does this money, there we go, does that include testing? Testing is going to be a big part of it, isn't it? And what about the web integration? It's not web maintenance, is it? Isn't it integration? Or how do people actually get in here? Isn't it through the website? So shouldn't there be a line for Web 2 integration, which would be more than this? Maybe that's one thing I was thinking. Oh, there it is. Oh, yeah. Yeah. Maybe that is about right then. Yeah, maybe that is about right. This legal, that's interesting. I wonder what you have in mind there. That could maybe unpack a bit. And actually, I'd like to, what if you put like 1,500 for legal and did a bit of research and write up a little, blurb on this, because I would be curious, and you have some experience background in the legal, so I don't really understand this business of, for example, this multiple payouts on the contract, and if there are any legal aspects that all of us need to be aware of. So that could be bumped up as far as I'm concerned. Develop an advertising portal. That makes sense. Yeah, testing. Well, that's good. So, how about if you give it to us and we'll test it for you? Although maybe not in Fund 9. Yeah, when you get a bill, we would want to use it. Because it really would help us to pay out people multiple, like, because the trifecta contract is 3 people and they all may be doing different amounts of work. And they would all get something, but they would get something unequal. And because the work that they've done is unequal. So that would be really useful for us. So I think this is really cool. And that's exactly half hour. Okay, Kevin, that's what I think about your proposal. And also, I would like to meet Dagwell, I think it is, one of these days. Thanks.